In this chapter, we will learn how to set the network parameters of the device. Correct network settings are the core for a healthy system. Not all the settings are as important as others. We will go through the main ones. We will start with the IP address. Click on Menu button, Settings, Network, TCP IPv4 to go to the IP settings. Tick Obtain an IPv4 address automatically and Obtain DNS automatically to get the IP address and DNS automatically. If your network supports IPv6, tick Obtain an IPv6 address automatically as well. It is highly advisable to set the IP address, subnet mask, gateway, preferred DNS, and alternate DNS manually, as the device must have a static IP in order to be accessed remotely. Using DHCP might cause the IP address to change with time. Click Apply to save the settings. If you use the PoE NVR, the network state of the internal Ethernet ports will be shown as well. It will not be visible for non-PoE NVRs. The internal Ethernet port connects all the PoE ports with the NVR system. The PoE ports are available when the state is online. If it is offline, the NVR PoE ports will be unavailable. The IP address and subnet mask of the internal Ethernet port can be changed if needed, but it is highly advisable to keep it as the default settings. Next, we will configure the ports. The system uses 3 ports. HTTP port. The HTTP port is mainly used for direct IE and mobile application remote access via static IP or DDNS. The default HTTP port of the NVR is 80. It is highly advisable to change this port to another value in all of the installations to unify the device from other devices in the network. Server port. This port is mainly used for network video management software like CMS. The default server port is 6036. It is advisable to change this port when there is more than one device on the network. RTSP port. RTSP, or Real-Time Stream Protocol, can be used for integrations with third-party softwares to retrieve the video stream from the NVR. It is also used by any media player which supports the RTSP. The default RTSP port is 554. It is advisable to change this port when there is more than one device on the network. The next subcategory is PPPoE. You only need to configure it if you are using PPoE connection. If you are not using PPPoE, you can skip to the next step, DDNS configuration. DDNS, or Dynamic DNS, is used to connect to the device remotely without the need for the static IP from your internet service provider. There are several DDNS services available, but we will explain about the 2 main ones which are also free of charge. Tick Enable to activate the DDNS. You will not be able to save the settings until you fill all the fields. Option 1. Choose www.autoddns.com in the DDNS type field. AutoDDNS is a free and simple service that works great with Provision-ISR devices. Next, input a name to your choosing in the domain name field and click on Register. Wait for the registration process to finish. Note that the domain name is personal. Each name can be used and registered only once, so make sure to choose a unique name which will be available for registration. Once registered, the registered domain name will be used for remote connection. For example, if you registered as guest1, your domain name will be guest1.autodns.com. Option 2 is Mint DNS. This DDNS server is owned and maintained by Provision-ISR. We will explain about this service in the Mint DNS chapter. In any case, remember that using DDNS service to connect to the device from remote locations requires a proper configuration of the ports and setting port forwarding in your router. Now we will go to email configurations. This email setting is used to send alarm notifications to your email. You can refer to the alarm chapter to learn more about configuring when to use email and how, but first, you must configure the email in order to enjoy the benefits of email notifications. Input the sender details in full. If you are not sure which values you need to input, please consult with your network manager or contact your email provider support. Tick Attaching Image if you wish the emails to include a corresponding snapshot. Click on Test to confirm that the details are correct. Input the email address of the recipient of the test message and confirm. If the mail test has failed, please check the sender info and try again. If the test was sent successfully, it means that the sender details are correct. Now you can set the recipients. Refer to Alarm chapter to learn how. Next is a UPnP configuration. You should skip this setting unless UPnP is required by the network administrator. UPnP allows you to access the device through IE client in WAN without port mapping. The router must support this feature, and it must be enabled within the router interface. Please refer to your router documentation for more information. Set the NVR's IP address, subnet mask, and gateway in the router interface. Apply and save. In the device interface, tick Enable and click the Apply button. Click Refresh button to refresh the UPnP status. If the UPnP status is still invalid UPnP after refreshing, the port number is probably wrong. Please change the mapping type to manual and click on the pencil icon to modify the port until the UPnP status turns to valid UPnP. Now you can view the external IP address of the NVR. Input the external IP address and HTTP port in the IE address bar to access the NVR. Now we will continue to NAT configuration. The quickest method for remote connection is the P2P cloud connection. We refer to it as NAT. NAT allows you to connect to the device from anywhere in the world without the need for any further settings in the device or router. It takes less than 5 seconds to set and use. Click on NAT to access the interface. Tick Enable to activate the P2P cloud connection availability. Now you can use the application Provision-CAM2 to scan the QR code and connect to the device from anywhere in the world. If you wish to connect to the device from a web browser, browse to www.provision-ISR-cloud.com. Input the device serial number, username, and password, and connect. Telnet is the last subcategory. The Telnet is used mostly for remote connection for technical support and debugging of the system. Enabling it can be done only from the local interface by clicking on Start Telnet Service. It will be closed automatically after rebooting the device. The user can also disable it manually by clicking on Close Telnet Service. The normal state of the Telnet is disabled. Last in the network section is the network status. Here you will find all the information you need about the network information, including local IP, ports, as well as the NAT and push server status. Some of the most useful information in the network status section is the bandwidth. Here you will be able to see the system's bandwidth bank along with the remaining bandwidth for local and remote connections. Use it to optimize your system's performance. This finalizes the network configurations.